Hi there, Alicia here. Just wanted to go ahead and post my video for week four's discussion. How do student work samples help identify students who are struggling with their learning goals? So I have a few, probably like three or four different reasons as to why I personally collect student work and how it helps me identify learning goals. So I'm going to go ahead and go over those here. So number one, I know by collecting student work, it definitely helps me identify common mistakes that a few of the students might be making. For example, just recently I was in a second grade classroom. They were doing subtraction by using expanded form, so a certain strategy. And I noticed that several of the students were making a similar mistake. When they were ungrouping, they were ungrouping correctly, but then instead of subtracting, they were actually adding. So if I hadn't collected that student work and pulled that group to the side, I wouldn't have known that this whole little group of about 6 or 7 of them were making the same common mistake. So instead of reteaching the whole lesson to the class who the majority of them got it, I was able to quickly identify those who were struggling to just kind of reteach it using a different approach. It also helps me identify individual mistakes. Collecting the work, again, right off the bat, I could see, oh, this student is continuously writing their numbers backwards, or this student is continuously forgetting to leave off their linking nouns, or whatever it is, pronouns, or they're having a hard time identifying, I don't know, verbs in a sentence. So again, the individual mistakes are clear, but only if you are able to identify it by collecting their work. So again, it's helpful to know how to differentiate and scaffold certain activities, especially for your EL students or, maybe struggling students. You wouldn't expect EL student to be able to be at the same level of reading or writing necessarily as someone who is not EL, so it really helps you identify those individual mistakes so you can scaffold and differentiate. Also helps you track student progress with 25 plus students. I think most teachers have a pretty good thumb on how their students are doing, which ones are struggling, how they're improving. However, we're pretty awesome, but if you really, want to assess your students properly, you can collect that work and compare to maybe some work from earlier in the year or even a couple weeks back before maybe you started an intervention program or you started really working with a student individually. Then when you're comparing those things, you can see, are they progressing, are they backsliding, is this working, do I need to do something else to scaffold or differentiate? So I think it's helpful to collect that work to track the student progress. And lastly, it definitely for me helps me set up future approaches to lessons. If I know there's students who are having a hard time, again, I bring up subtraction because we just did that in the second grade class I was in, and I saw some of them were able to subtract by ungrouping, where some others were kind of able to do it, but would get confused and make a mistake at some point. And then there was some that just it was a foreign language to them. They had no clue to where to even begin. So by collecting their work, the master teacher and I were able to see, oh, this student's at this level, this student's at that level. And when we assigned individual work, we were able to then differentiate again for the levels of the students. So as a teacher, extremely helpful. Those 3 or 4 reasons as to why we definitely collect and review student work. So thanks for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.